Hey y'all, I'm Paige Feldman. I'm a writer and director, and here on this YouTube channel, I'm documenting the making of my debut feature as a writer-director. It's called Back to You, and it's a contained romantic comedy, and I am back. Last week, I took another unexpected week off because I was still calibrating in terms of weaning off my pain medication and an increased recovery schedule. This week, I'm kind of at a baseline. I am at the lowest amount of medication that I can be on while still being able to manage my pain, and I'm getting used to it. So I'm doing a lot better. It's still not leaving me a lot of time for getting my work done. And that's kind of the theme that I want to dig into today, which is one of my favorite quotes that I tell myself all the time, because I am a perfectionist, and that it's kind of ironic that this is the quote that I really that resonates with me. But it works, and it's that the perfect is the enemy of the good. Just saying it gives me a sense of peace. What it means is basically you can spend all of your time and energy trying to make something perfect when you have something that's good enough already. And if you spend all your time trying to make something perfect, you're not going to be able to throw yourself into something else that's going to help you become better, that's going to strengthen your portfolio, that's going to, as I talked about last time, help you apply for fellowships. So I am definitely feeling that the perfect is the enemy of the good this week, as I have less than a week left to get my stuff ready for the Film Independent Screenwriting Lab and submit to that. But this past week, I had a reminder that, sometimes perfect isn't necessarily what you're looking for. Sometimes you just need good enough. My good enough reminder came from the acceptance to one of those fellowships I applied for. I applied for it way back in January, and it's super exciting. The only problem is that because of my recovery schedule and my abilities, I will not be able to attend or participate in this fellowship this year, which is it's devastating. I do have a waiver from the festival that's sponsoring this fellowship to apply next year. So hopefully I'll be able to get in next year. I asked for a deferment and they just can't offer it because it's a fairly exclusive and closed group. I got into that fellowship, so at least I get to hang that acceptance on my hat, on my hat rack. I don't know. I get to hang that acceptance in my ego, in my brain somewhere, and try not to let the devastation that I can't participate because of health reasons get to me this year. And then I can't really talk about it in general because I'm not officially one of the fellows because I had to decline. Regardless, I want to share with you one part of my fellowship application kit, my personal answer to this question, because this is something that I've been struggling with a lot, and that's my bio. I just have so much trouble with my bio in general because it's supposed to talk about all of my credits and accomplishments and talk about them in a way that shows my personality and voice and writing style. And I have not been able to get it to work. I've not been able to get it all to mesh. So I want to share with you the bio that got me into this fellowship to show you how perfect can be the enemy of the good, because this is 100% not perfect, but it was 100% good enough to get me accepted into this fellowship. And hopefully that good luck or good work, because it's not just luck, it's about the work and the effort that you all put in, that I put in, will translate to success in getting into one of these next fellowships that I'm applying for that will be held far enough away that I will be able to participate in them. So, as is tradition, let's hop into screen share, and I will share my bio with you. I'll read it to you, and I'll explain what works for me, what doesn't, what I feel like I might need to do, but also share with you a bio that was good enough to get accepted into a fellowship. So hopefully, if nothing else, even if you can't learn from this in terms of how to construct your own bio, it'll give you the confidence to just do your best, know that it could be better, but then move on and get with the rest of your application and hopefully get that opportunity that you're applying for because it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be good enough. And so here's my good enough bio. I'm in my Scrivener document that has all of my fellowship stuff contained into one place because, like I said last week, a lot of this stuff is duplicates. It's all duplicate questions, and so if you have all of your information compiled into one place, whether it's a folder on your desktop or, in my case, my Scrivener document where I just have everything compiled, it'll be really easy for you to get to it once you're ready to apply for a fellowship. But here's my bio, and I'm just going to read it to you. Paige Feldman is a Los Angeles-based writer and director called a filmmaker to keep an eye out for. She tells raunchy, witty, sexy, and often Jewish stories about navigating love and anxiety while pursuing your dreams. Interrobang, her short-form comedy anthology series about moments after sex when being emotionally naked is way more terrifying than being physically naked, premiered at Seattle International Film Festival, was nominated for Best Comedic Series at Minnesota WebFest, and screened in festivals nationwide, including a sold-out showing at the Chinese theaters in Hollywood for Dances with Films. Wing Dad, her feature writing debut, a coming-of-age in your 30s in a pandemic with a celebrity alcoholic father who's crashing on your couch comedy, won Best Feature at Santa Monica Film Fest. It's now streaming on Prime. How to Fall in Love the Hard Way, her audio romantic comedy series, is releasing on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Paige holds a BA from USC School of Cinematic Arts, a JD from Northwestern, and festival badges from her previous life working in film and TV sales, financing, and production. Films and shows she's worked on have won Emmys, been shortlisted for Oscars, and premiered in Cannes, Sundance, Berlin, TIFF, Tribeca, and South by Southwest. And that is my 200-word biography. In terms of a fellowship application kit, 200 words is a great sweet spot because a lot of fellowships either ask for 150-word bios or 300-word bios, sometimes 200-word bios. And if you have a 200-word bio, you can expand some with a 300-word bio. And 50 words, cutting 50 words, not super hard. I could probably cut a bunch from this interrobang paragraph in terms of, instead of short form comedy anthology series, it turns into web series. And that is, web series is 1 word, so that's 1, 2, 3 words down already. Just from a simple verbiage switch. Although I prefer short form comedy anthology series because it talks about what it is. In web series, there's a certain stigma that you might find attached to that word, or that I find attached to that word, in terms of production quality or writing or other things that I don't want necessarily associated with interrobang because I shot it and produced it as I would a film. And so I want to keep it in this level of it's a series, it's highly produced, etc. But that's maybe my own prejudices or my own paranoia coming into play. Regardless, cutting 50 words from a 200-word bio, it's not easy, but it's not that hard. And I can show how to brutally cut words from something at some point, whether it's a bio or a synopsis, because I've gotten very good at it over the years because I am an overwriter. So the things that I like about it, just talking about perfect is the enemy of the good and like what's good about this, is that I have my 3 most important credits to date, and I have my accolades for them listed. So I have festivals for interrobang, the 3 most important ones in terms of the premiere Seattle, and Seattle's a fantastic film festival. I got nominated at Minnesota WebFest. If I wasn't nominated at Minnesota WebFest, maybe I wouldn't include this. But getting a Best Comedic Series nomination, that's something great to be able to put on my resume. And then Dances with Films is a fabulous festival. And yeah, the showing that I had when I was in the festival for interrobang, it was sold out, which is pretty remarkable, especially for a short form series. It's not a feature like this. There was no name cast in it. It's a short form series. So 3 festivals, 3 great accolades in terms of premiere, nomination, and marketability, sold out showing. Wing Dad, it's a feature writing debut, so there's that nod. It won Best Feature at Santa Monica Film Festival, so there's an accolade, and it's on Prime, so it's on a major streaming service. So I'm, again, showing quality and marketability. and How to Fall in Love the Hard Way. I gave it a bit of short shrift, unfortunately, but also I'm applying for all film fellowships and not audio series. So I gave it a bit of short shrift, but also said it's releasing on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, which it is. So again, marketability, major platform. And then this last paragraph is a bit braggy and slightly, I would say, irrelevant. If I were to, need to cut 50 words right away, I could just cut this paragraph, but I like what it adds, which is I have credentials, I have USC, I have a law degree, and I worked in film and TV sales, financing, and production. And for a fellowship, it's important to know that the fellows have some sort of business acumen or understanding of the marketplace, which all of my credits and stuff can show, but having been an exec, maybe there's a little bit more credit I can get, considering I didn't have anything of mine play at a major festival. And when I say major, I mean Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Toronto, Telluride, South by Southwest, Tribeca, Sundance, that pantheon of maybe 10 festivals. I might be forgetting a couple. I have films and shows I've worked on. I have won Emmys, true. Been shortlisted for Oscars, true. And premiered in Cannes, Sundance, Berlin, TIFF, Tribeca, and South by Southwest. All true, and sounds super duper impressive. I don't know how impressive I feel it is, but it's all, when it's listed out like that, it's yeah. And if you ask me to name the titles, I can name titles for every single one of these things. So, all true, my credits are impressive, and the length is really good. And those are the two things that I feel like I've done really well at with this bio. So that's what's good about my bio. Now, in terms of what I want to do to make it perfect, if we're talking about perfect is the enemy of the good, is that it feels pretty dry to me. The only real humor, the only real sense of my voice comes in my pitches for Interrobang and Wing Dad, especially Wing Dad, a coming of age in your 30s in a pandemic with a celebrity alcoholic father who's crashing on your couch comedy. That logline, that tagline that I've created, which took a long time to figure out, because most of the time when I pitch Wing Dad, I start with, guys, it's comedy, don't worry. But it's also about this guy whose alcoholic father, who's estranged from, comes back home. But there's no real sense of my personality in terms of how I present all of this information. I have my review pull quote right here, and the types of stories that I tell: raunchy, witty, sexy, and often Jewish stories about navigating love and anxiety while pursuing your dreams. It's very straightforward, it's very informative, but it's not fun, and it's not funny, and it's not snarky or witty. So that's the one thing that I've really been struggling with this bio, is how to imbue it with a sense of my personality while also staying within the word limit, because that's the real issue. If I had unlimited words, I could write about myself in a way that's very pithy and fun and shows my personality more. So as far as problem solving this issue of voice, I do have a funnier bio. This is from my Film Freeway bio, for where I applied to film festivals and some fellowships that are available on Film Freeway. But I don't particularly like this bio anymore because it doesn't 100% showcase all of the credits and all of the cool things that I've done. It is 197 words, so we're still under 200, but it's, she always puts a bit of herself into her work. That just feels disingenuous to me. And it's not a funny presentation of it. I guess the only real funny presentation, her favorite punctuation mark in her own fears about anxieties and about saying I love you, inspired her directorial debut in Interrobang. And then I guess the one other thing that this bio has done that I like is this last sentence. A native of St. Louis, Missouri, who calls Los Angeles home, Paige was a contestant on the Jeopardy teen tournament. The last year, Alex Trebek had a mustache and makes the world's best oatmeal raisin cookies. I really like that sentence, and it's fun. But I don't know where I would fit it into this bio that's more about my credits. And so that's my struggle, this balance of, I guess I could just tag it on to the end, but I need a good segue. And again, I would need it to be one of those bios that could be 300 words and not the 150 to 200 that I've seen become more and more common over the years. The past few years, anyway. So that's kind of where I am with this bio. It's not perfect, but it is good, and it was good enough for at least one fellowship. But I am still, just because the perfect is the enemy of the good doesn't mean that I'm going to stop working on this bio and stop trying to perfect it. It's just a matter of when is it going to be good enough so I can submit it and be available for these opportunities. Because the one thing about waiting to make things perfect is that nothing's ever going to be perfect. And if you really try to wait to make something perfect before you put yourself out there, you're never going to have an opportunity. And so while I am going to continue to revise my bio, I also do have this one ready for the opportunities that present themselves when, like now, I don't have time to really dig into the minutia because I have other things to worry about for this fellowship, like a lookbook, because I am directing it. And they prefer to have directors send in lookbooks, or writers who are also going to be directing their project send in a lookbook with it to get a sense of the directorial voice and the next steps that will be taken. So this bio is good enough for right now. And I would love to know from you what tricks you have for getting your bio looking good, or if there is a mantra that you live by, like the perfect is the enemy of the good, or something else that helps you push forward and open yourself to new opportunities and put yourself out there for them. Because that's really what the perfect is the enemy of the good is about. It's not about being like, okay, whatever, it's good enough. It's about saying, I am good enough just as I am, even though it's not quite right yet, but hopefully someone else can see the brilliance inside me. And that's what I'm hoping for myself when I apply to this fellowship. That's what I hope for you as you continue on with your creative work. And thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for your support while I've been getting better. And I look forward to sharing more with you next week here with another Cake Fight Presents the Making of. Thanks you so much for watching. And I'm just going to keep that way because that was a very weird way to say thank you. But again, perfect is the enemy of the good. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.